Hey everyone, this is Chase with Ethical Trading. The other video talking through all the various cryptos and crypto charting, as well as some of the things to have in consideration for crypto into 2025 is currently uploading. But in the meantime, before my wife and kids get home, I'm going to do a quick walkthrough on PEPE chart showing you how I would go about charting this. Some of these things I'm going to show you here will apply as well if you are charting stocks or other types of things from a technical analysis standpoint. So I know PEPE is one of those projects that's very much a meme coin. That being said, we're going to use this as a good fundamental standpoint to talk through the charting aspects, as well as, this is probably a good project to keep an eye on, just because for one, it just got added to Robinhood, so keeping that in mind, but also it is on one of the better blockchains. So I think that, well, it looks like PEPE. So PEPE is on Ethereum. We'll keep that in mind. There's Bonk and some others that are going to get sympathy movement off of a lot of this that is on Solana blockchain. So let's see what happens there. But what I typically do when I'm charting something from a basic standpoint is I start at your weekly chart, or weekly candles more specifically is what I am referring to when I say weekly. So I've got it set up here to the weekly. You can see that I'm using, for crypto, I like to use Tether, just because Tether, and specifically on the Binance exchange, is where most of the volume and transactional movement takes place. So from a technical standpoint, what am I looking for here? I'm looking for levels of support and levels of resistance, and I try to identify those on the weekly chart first, because if you notice key levels there for consistency's sake, that's a good place to start, and then I'll work my way down. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a horizontal array here from levels of support and resistance that I notice. So I could draw it from the wicks, but I don't like to do that unless it really makes sense to do it. Rather, I want to see the candles, because you can see that it's more conservative in most situations, but also you can see how, for instance, if I draw this here, see how this candle rejected, even though this candle actually moved higher, but then this candle actually rejected and moved lower. So you can see that that obviously is a level of resistance there. Same thing happened here. I'll make this a little bit bigger so it's easier to see. See, this candle pushed above, and then this candle also rejected below. So that level is definitely a key level of resistance on this crypto. So I like to use solid yellow lines for major levels of support and resistance, and then I use dotted yellow lines for more minor, shorter time frame levels of support and resistance. So I did go ahead and mark this one as a major level. For one, we're on the weekly, but also when I look across this, I see multiple situations where it counted as, or served as resistance there. It looks like we broke above to the upside there, but look here. This pullback here, that resistance level that we had here, now served as support. You see the same level here served where we broke down below, but then the follow through candle bounced on it. So you can see that that was actually a good situation that occurs quite often, where support and resistance typically intertwine within one another. So resistance typically ends up turning into support, support ends up turning into resistance. But various times here, aside from that, we broke down there, we ended up retaking this, and you can see that it actually held that key level of support all the way through there, broke down, but then a strong bullish buying candle here pushed higher. So from a technical standpoint, and this is something I think Tony's mentioned quite a bit over in my Discord, that he talks through or tries to look at, and I want to be careful about it, is higher lows and higher highs. I don't get too hung up on higher lows and higher highs when I'm simply drawing levels of support and resistance for trading various time frames. So more importantly here, if I'm just starting from the basics, I'm drawing support and resistance levels is where I want to start for my charts. I'm going to go ahead and draw a resistance or support level here, because you can see there was definitely a rejection there at one point. Same thing here in this area. You can see that time and time again, it looks like we tagged that level here and rejected. We tagged that level here, we rejected. We tagged that level here and immediately just rejected back below without even hitting the next candle. So those are some good key levels to mark for major support and resistance there. I'm going to go ahead and mark this one over here as well, because I see it and it stands out. So you can see that held as support. Same thing, we broke below here, but then we bounced, and that was support there. Served as support over here too. So ultimately what you want is you want 3 or more points where you are contacting with a certain level to identify that as a support or resistance zone. Don't get super hung up on whether or not it has exactly 3 or 5 or whatever it has. this is why I look at the weekly time frame, because if I was to look at the daily time frame, you would see that some of those levels I just marked actually touch probably 10-15 times each. But when you're looking at the weekly or even potentially the monthly on something that's more long term, you'll see those levels that start to actually stand out. It happened over here too, but there wasn't a lot of transactional volume and movement going on with Pepe here to really quantify marking the levels at the moment, so I'm not going to worry about it. The important thing is over here, and we are in new all-time high territory, so you can see it's kind of hard to go and draw some levels of support and resistance, right? That being said, what I'm going to do is, since we only had one tap here previously as a resistance level, I'm going to mark that as a dashed yellow as a minor resistance / support level. So we've got a new all-time high breakout. It wouldn't surprise me to see a pullback and test of that level. This is a meme coin. People are going to take profits early on. It's just the nature of it. But same thing here. I'm going to go ahead and mark a resistance here, minor resistance, and it's there. So try to speed this up because I know I'm at the bell here in a minute. But we got a bull flag breakout and several other things going on here at the moment. But I guess for the sake of this video, I just want to hone in on support and resistance levels, right? So you can see even from the weekly, if I switch over to the daily here, see how well those levels of highs and lows and support and resistance were respected across that time frame. So this is a really good example of some things to watch, as well as now I'm on the daily time frame. I'm going to go ahead and draw a resistance there because you can see that we definitely rejected at that level. If I want to be more conservative here, I'd probably draw it right there. And arguably that could be considered a major resistance at this point because that's not just one candle that rejected there. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and working on the 5th candle that rejected there. So I guess for the sake of consistency, I'm going to go ahead and mark this as a major resistance level for the time being. That being said, this is also a bull flag setup that we have going on here. So what I would want to see for a breakout to the upside would be here. That is not what I was trying to do. Go back there because I want a fresh line. So bull flag breakout here would be something like that's your upper line of your bull flag, and conservatively lower line of your bull flag, and your flagpole here. So measured move of that would be the height of the pole to the upside breakout. But I'll keep an eye on this here. I do want to keep this video brief, so I'm just going to leave Pepe here. Here's the levels I would say I would watch on it. I might put another resistance if you're kind of gauging stuff out. I'd put a minor resistance there and go from there. Same thing with minor support right here below. So hopefully this was helpful going through this. You can see drawing technicals is going to vary a little bit person to person. I found a way that works for me going this approach, and tried and true. Many of you have been trading with me for months or years now. You've seen my consistency and track record. So this works by sticking with it this way. Hopefully this is helpful. Again, if there's any questions about how I drew something here or how you should go about it, feel free to ask and we'll talk through it. But I hope everyone has a great rest of the day and good luck with our trading week starting tomorrow. Thanks all.